Sure. I'd like to introduce the committee of ETJ-Mie, Abigail Lloyd on the end there, John Richards, and myself, Ian Simpson. So we are the committee of... Actually, we've just formed. David Paul contacted me and said, would you start ETJ-Mie? Because we don't have one. So I said, yes, we'll give it a go. So thank you all for your support. It's the first workshop. So, you know, we didn't expect many on the first workshop. We expected less than this, so we're happy that we've got this many. Thank you very much. And we've got two presentations coming up. I'm going to do one on active English, and then John is going to do a presentation on events for your school later. And then we're going to break into groups and discuss various aspects of the presentations. And we're also going to show you some active English and get you doing some exercise later on as well. Don't worry, not too much. See, Matthew's looking worried there. Okay, well, some other people may come in as we're going, but I'll make my start then, yeah? Okay, all right. Good, right, okay. You can hear me? Can you hear me? Okay? Yes. Okay. I have to use my teacher's voice and project it. No. So, my name is Ian Simpson, and I am Chief Evangelist for Active English and owner of Queen's Education. We have schools in Shiroyama, Morinomanchi, Kawage, and Suzuka, plus an online school. And active English is what we are really dealing with. It's teaching English through human movement. That's what I call active English. Teaching English through human movement. It's not a new concept. Confucius said in his Chinese proverb many years ago, "Tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I will understand." So it was understood a long time ago that by doing is much better than just by being told something. So a little bit about me before we start. I'm from the UK. I was born near London, but I grew up in Wales. And yesterday, Wales rugby team beat Australia. Yes. And England just narrowly lost to New Zealand. So, but Scotland and Ireland won as well. Tommy, yes? Yeah, so it was a good day for... Did you know that?
No.
For British rugby yesterday was a good day. So in the UK, I taught in a high school for 17 years. Not English. My English is terrible. My grammar is terrible. But I taught physical education for 17 years. And science, not a lot of science, a little bit. And I was on the senior management team in a high school in the UK. And I was one of only a select group of people to be awarded Winston Churchill Fellowship for the research and contribution I made to research into elite coaching methods in sport and education. And I went up to London, up to Queen's Gate, and got my fellowship awarded from the Prime Minister, John Major. So that was a nice time in my life. And then in '99 I came to Japan because I was pretty much burned out as a teacher in the UK. And I was coaching semi-professional rugby in the UK. And then decided to come here and coach professional rugby, which I did for the first 3 years. And then got married and a baby was coming, so decided I wanted to settle down. So I went back to my roots and opened a school. And from then on, it's gone from there. So that's the sort of history of why we've ended up with active English, because I am a physical education teacher and a professional rugby coach, and I love sport. And so combine that with my skill set of running English schools and teaching English, and put the two together, all the components together, to create Active English. So that's where it all came from. The benefits of Active English. Learn to speak English subconsciously through Active English. Now what I mean by this is, so we could sit our kids in a classroom and we can teach them some verbs like jump, hop, skip, run, and we can show them pictures or flashcards of people doing that, and that's often what we do. Now, opposed to that, we could take them to the corner of the room. We got some stuff laid out at the back of the room there, and we could actually physically get them jumping, running, hopping and skipping. And I think it would be quite obvious to everyone the most effective way of learning is if they are actually jumping, skipping and hopping and running. They're going to remember that vocabulary much more effectively than just by looking at it on a flashcard or by a teacher telling them this is running. So it goes without saying. And often when through Active English you don't even have to teach it, because if you say it once, okay, everybody run, 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 they just start going run, 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 run. They just start doing it, so they're learning it subconsciously. And when they're having fun, we all know that learning is enhanced when you have fun. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you're having fun, your capacity for learning is enhanced. Funny story, we started Active English lessons, which is teaching English through human movement, through sport, games with kids, a year ago. And I had this group of kids, and they only came once a month to do the Active English lesson. And after a year, the one girl, Kokoro, she joined I started a classroom English lesson, and she joined that. And in this one lesson, I was teaching animals, I think, and I was saying, this is elephant, elephant. And she just couldn't remember the word for elephant. Anyway, cut a long story short, at the end of the lesson, next to our classroom was our gym, because we have a gym, 2 gyms in one of our schools. And I went out after the lesson, and she was running around the outside of the gym, shouting, elephant, 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 elephant. I said, Kokoro, what are you doing? She said, well, I don't know, but I find if I run around and shout the new vocabulary, I remember it so much better. And I thought, wow, that sort of reinforces what I've always thought. She had only ever learned English in the Active English class through human movement. When I put her in a classroom situation, she found it easier to go out into the gym to reinforce her vocabulary. So that was really interesting to me and reinforced what I had always thought. By moving, you learn much better than just by sitting in a classroom and looking at flashcards or a textbook, or by the teacher telling you. So that's the key point there. Also, number 3 on that list, increased physical and mental exercise. I have a couple of kids, and particularly I'm fighting with my daughter every day, who's 10, because all she seems to do is go from one screen to another screen. So she's on the iPad, I say, put the iPad down. So she does. Then she picks up her mother's iPhone, and she starts using that. I said, an hour later, put the iPhone down. So she does. And then she steals my iPhone and goes into another room. And then when I take my iPhone away, she puts on the TV or a computer, and it just goes from one screen to another, and it drives me crazy. And I know my daughter's not the only one. So all kids are in this situation at the moment where they are addicted to screens. So I know all parents would be really happy if we can, because as a result, they don't do enough exercise, right? As a result, they don't do enough exercise. She does karate on a Friday night, but it's only once a week. The only sort of saving grace in this is that Japanese kids, shogansei, have to walk to school every day. I never thought, when I came to Japan, and they said, the kids have to walk 2 miles to school every day. What? In the rain, and the typhoons and the wind? I thought it was terrible. actually now I think it's great. What a great idea to make the kids walk to school, because they actually have to do some exercise. So it gets them away from the screen. So I thought, well, again, if we can offer to the parents, if I can say to the parents, we will teach your kids English at the same time they can do physical exercise and get fit and become more healthy, that's got to be a good thing, yeah? Without a doubt. And mothers and fathers would be really happy with that, because they want their kids to do more exercise and they want their kids to study. So let's combine the two. Active English, AE, Active English, can lead to competitive advantage in business. So, for those of you, who's got their own school here? Anybody got your own school? Yeah? Okay, right. So, we're always looking for a competitive advantage. Now, the definition of strategy that I like is by Michael E. Porter from Harvard University, who says, strategy is the creation of a unique and valuable position involving a different set of activities. That is, activities that are different from your rivals or similar to your rivals but done in a different way. I'll say that again. Strategy is the creation of a unique and valuable position within the market that involves activities that are different from your rivals or similar to your rivals but done in a different way. So to simplify that, if you can add something in your school that other rival schools around you cannot do, an expertise, a method of teaching like Active English, a small facility, you could create a competitive advantage over your rivals simply by offering Active English when they can't do it, they don't offer it. Right, so that's one example of creating a competitive advantage in the business sense through Active English. And the last point on this slide is Active English can supplement your classroom lessons or stand alone as a lesson course camp. So you could do Active English as a warm-up and then move to your tables and do your normal classroom lesson. You could do it as a reward at the end, as a game, because they love it. At the end, it's a reward. If you work well, you get the game at the end. Yeah? You can do some Active English, get them moving. Or you could do it as a standalone course or a standalone lesson. Here's some examples of what we do. The one on the left is our mountain camp. We do a one-night mountain camp up in Kamayama. There's that old school, you know, the old school up in, it's from the war period. Often they use it for filming. When they want a shogakko and they want it from the war period, because it was closed just after the war, and it's still the same, but it's beautiful and clean, but it's still the same, it's just fantastic. So we go there, and all the kids, can take up to 100 kids. We took 60 last year, 80 this year, and they sleep on the classrooms. All the boys sleep in one classroom, all the girls sleep in the other classroom. That's how big the classrooms are. And there's a river that runs alongside, a little river, not a dangerous river, a little river. And we go hiking and play games in the playground, and play in the river. And all the time, we're running the camp in English. And we do it in collaboration with Kids PE, which is another business. And the lady who runs that, Sanae Kumi, Sanae, we collaborate and we work together to run camps and lessons. So they're Japanese, her staff are Japanese, my staff are native English speakers, so it works really well together. So that's a mountain camp we do, one night stay. Everything's done, taught through English. Bottom right, we do a beach camp. That's Kawaii Marina, which is just in front of my Kawaii school in Morinomachi. And that's the girls there are doing beach flag. Actually, that's my son, this one here. He lost. So we do beach games, and we do that in collaboration also with Mississippi English School, John, at the back there. So John looks after SUP, I look after the surfing, and bodyboarding, and then Kumi and her crew look after the beach games and beach volleyball. And they're one-day events that we do, all in English. And the kids just love it. They just, you know, they're in the water, they're speaking English subconsciously without even being, they just copy us, you know. They just mimic us, and they start speaking it. And it's funny when they switch between seeing the Japanese teacher and then seeing the foreign teacher, and they just start talking English. They try, because they're having fun, and they're motivated. And so because they're motivated and they're having fun, they see, oh, Gaijin face, I'll try and speak English to him, her. It's incredible. But you don't get that reaction in a classroom. Normally you're slapping them to wake them up. Well, I am. So, and then top right, that's our gym, one of our gyms. We have two gyms in the Suzuka school. That's the sprung floor gym. The other side is Jinkoshiba, artificial turf gym. And we're just doing, I think that's a Pirates game we're doing, where then if they touch the floor, the shark eats them. So they're not allowed to touch the floor. They can only stay on the equipment, jumping, running, leaping, doing anything they can. The equipment that you see there, of course, we've got a fully equipped, two gyms fully equipped. We're lucky, right? But you don't need that. All you need is some simple cones, markers, plastic rings, maybe one or two mats, some ladders at the back. That's all you need. And you've got hundreds of drills that you can do with that small amount of equipment. You can do it in a small space in your classroom. You don't need a big space. There are drills you can do in a small space. If you want to take them out if you have a playground area or a garden area or a park over the road, take them over there and do it. You take them to the beach. You can do it anywhere. You're not restricted to doing it in a particular place. And this is the left side. Oh, that's Kumi in the blue t-shirt. She's my partner on this. And who's that top right? Yay! Stand up, Matthew. So Matthew, there is. He's our food porn guru. He knows everything about food porn. Yeah. We do a podcast together. It's called the Active Podcast. Episode 1 is already uploaded. I've got links on some paper that Joe's going to give you at the end, or Matthew. And episode 1, Active Podcast, is Matthew and I talking about teaching English through food and cooking. That also is active English. It doesn't have to be sport. And we're lucky to have Matthew, who loves culture, food, fashion, and he does active English lessons based on that. So talk to him later about that. And he's looking wonderful there in his pinafore with a beautiful, what's that cake? Red velvet?
Red velvet cake.
Red velvet cake, right? And we tend to do these kind of cultural lessons with our older students, the adult students, particularly the middle-aged to old-age students. And again, these are often people who would not normally be interested in English, but because they're cooking and they're interested in cakes and cooking and food porn, they just start using English. So if Matthew, the important point with active English is that while you do the exercise, you say the words. So if I've got the kids jumping, I don't just say, okay, jump from there to there. You'll see later what we do. As you jump, you must say the word. You must say the word. Jump, 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 jump. Hop, 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 hop. And once they've gone around that and said it 30 times, they're not going to forget it. Because they correlate it. They link the word with the movement and they get it. Boom. Much more powerful than sitting in a classroom saying, that's somebody hopping. Because you get it, yeah? It's so much more powerful. But they must say the word. At first, they're a bit quiet. They don't you know, they don't start talking and then you say stop. No, you must say the words as you do it. Otherwise you have to do 20 press-ups over here. That's what I say. So punish them by making them do 100 press-ups if they don't say it. But that's the key point. And it's the same with Matthew. When he's doing active, when he's doing cooking lessons, he's got the students coming in and they say, okay, you guys mix up all these ingredients here, you guys chop the onions there. So, and they're talking to me, what, shall I chop this? Chop, chop, chop. Yes, chop, chop. You guys mix this. And they say, what's this, Matthew? Well, that's parsley. I said, what's parsley in Japanese? And then, but they're just, because they're having fun and they're enjoying it, they're asking questions, they're learning new vocabulary, and they're doing. That's the point. Yeah? And bottom right, again, we've got, that's going back to the beach camp. That's me with a couple of girls on the surfboards, doing some surfing lessons there. Bottom right, I've got them in the water, and they've got their orange vests on, and I've got my blue instructor's vests on. Safety. So all of you just couldn't take them in the water like that and start doing active English. Because it's dangerous, you understand that, yeah? So when it comes to mountain camps and water camps, you should be employing qualified instructors. I worked for dozens of years as a professional beach lifeguard in the UK and Australia. And I was on the mountain rescue team, and I was head of outdoor education in the UK for about 10 years. So I have a background in outdoor education and surfing. Joe and I love surfing. So I got a lot of qualifications in water and on mountains. So I can do that. So, but not everyone can. So when it comes to that aspect of it, I would say you have to go out and employ a professional to go with you in the water or onto the mountain, in the river, etc. That's an important point to make, yeah? But it doesn't stop you from doing it, because there are professionals around, or you come and talk to us and we will come and do it for you. All right? Because we do go to other schools and run camps for other people, or days or events or lessons, whatever. The science behind active English. So research shows that exercise positively affects cognitive function. This is not coming from me. I didn't create this. I researched all this. I learned about it. It's a fact that exercise positively affects cognitive function. It increases the levels of a crucial protein called BDNF. BDNF is, it doesn't really matter what it is, but I'll tell you what it is. It's brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF, just remember that. And also 5 other chemicals or hormones that are released when you do exercise. Serotonin, you know serotonin, the happy drug, right? Norepinephrine, the memory or alert, keep focused chemical. BDNF. Dopamine, to get you motivated. Endorphins, that make you feel good. For pain relief, when you're running the marathon and the endorphins start to kick in, the pain goes down, and they calm you down and reduce anxiety. So like with the endorphins, they calm you down and reduce anxiety. So you think about those hyperactive classes that you've got, those naughty kids, right, who are hyperactive. Well, just by making them do a little exercise, you'll get the endorphins being released, which reduces anxiety, induces calmness, which might be an idea for those kind of classes. Yeah? You might want to do some exercise probably at the beginning of the lesson just to get them calm before you're actually able to teach them something. So there was a Chinese university who did an experiment, interesting experiment, which they had 3 control groups. Control group 1 was a group of people. They all had to learn, I think it was 20 English vocabulary words. Control group 1 was sitting in a classroom doing no exercise. Control group 2 were doing low intensity exercise. and control group 3 were doing high intensity exercise. They all did it for the same period of time. They all had similar intellectual and physical abilities. And the results proved that the high intensity group learned 20% more effectively than the other groups. So because when you do exercise, cognitive function is enhanced. So simply by moving your body, by doing something exercise related, your capacity for learning is increased, and that's scientifically proven. So again, as an adult, if you want to kill two birds with one stone, if you want to study Japanese, go to the sports club, put your Japanese study on the treadmill in front of you, and start running, and study at the same time, and you're going to get nice and fit, and you're going to learn a lot quicker. That's science. And the next one, it helps with brain elasticity and slows down age-related cognitive decline. Matthew and I were talking about this. Matthew, one of the reasons a lot of the people go to your food porn classes, they're older people, a lot of them, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why did they tell you?
They said they're trying to prevent dementia.
Trying to prevent dementia. Yeah. And there it is. Exercise, or being involved, moving, slows down age-related cognitive decline. And they know that. They're not scientists, but people realize they have to keep their brains active. And one of the best ways of doing that is by moving, doing things. And the bottom one there, good daily habits fire the synapses linking brain neuron network, promoting creative thinking. Again, I've always had this thing in Japan that, I mean, I've taught, some of your high school teachers, I've taught in high schools, junior high schools, and sometimes you get the feeling that the Japanese kids are not creative. I taught professional rugby. The Japanese players are not creative. They are great at what we call sign plays. You understand a sign play? So it's all planned. The ball comes out, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and he's going to do that. Everybody knows it. They do it perfectly. They're better than any country in the world at sign plays. But if the situation changes, that's it. They haven't got a clue what to do. They cannot make instant creative decisions on the spot as a rugby player. Yeah? So I'm running, and the player there in the defence, he moves and he creates a big gap. Now I'm supposed to pass the ball to this guy, but there's a big gap in front of me. So what I should do is run through it, yeah, and score a try. But they don't, they pass the ball. What did you do that for? There's a big gap in front of you. But the sign player was past the ball. I know, but there's a big gap in front of you. He moved. Oh, well, I thought I just followed the sign player. And it happens, you know, and I've said in high schools, you know, to groups of kids, what's your opinion on this topic here? What's your opinion? Not 28 kids, not one person had an opinion. Right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They do have opinions, but they won't open their mouths. Right? Some of them don't, but a lot of them do, but they won't open their mouths. But that's another whole conversation we could have. But it's important to stimulate creative and critical thinking. And one of the ways we do that is by mixing up daily habits. So if you drive to work the same way every day, right? When you get to work, you're probably not very stimulated, not very motivated. Try doing this one time. Take a different route to work. Instead of going right, go left. Go the other way around. Right? Take a different route. And when you arrive at work, you'll feel different. Because you've just broken the routine. You've broken the habit of doing the same thing all the time. And by breaking the habit, you fire the synapses, which creates new neurons, which makes your brain more creative. because it links up new neurons in the brain. And it's as simple as that. Just breaking the routine by doing something different. So my teachers and I, we always have this thing, we discuss the problem why in English class, eikaiwa lessons, the kids come in every week and we say, hello, how are you? And then we do warm-up questions. What's your name? How old are you? Where do you live? And they go boom, 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 boom. They know everything. Then we're outside and we meet them with their mothers in the supermarket, right? And I say, hello, how are you? They look at me like an alien. I say, hi, Yuki, hello, how are you? And then the mother's thinking, haven't you taught her anything? So I call it SLL, spatial learning limitation. For some reason, they connect those warm-up questions of vocabulary with sitting in that classroom, in that particular space at that desk. So again, based on the one we do at the bottom here, we take them outside sometimes. We do the warm-up questions in the car park. Or we take them into another room if it's cold. So we mix up, we break the habit, which fires them up again, and they learn, well, actually I can use this vocabulary anywhere, not just in the classroom. I've been battling with that problem for years and could never understand why it was. You all have the same problem, I can see. So anyway, that's some science behind what we do, and the science is strong. Quickly moving on. Teachers Accreditation Scheme. With Kids PE, we've just set up Kyokai, with a government-regulated teacher association for Active English Association. And we have 4 levels of courses. At the moment, we're only running level 1 and 2. Teacher Foundation course. That's an experiential course. The first one is coming up February the 10th in our Suzuka school. Please come. It's going to be cheap, like the whole day, I don't know, 1 or 2,000 yen, something like that. And at the end of the day, there's a guy from Sendai coming down, Dom Jones. He's going to do a sort of demonstration on martial science, teaching English through martial arts, which should be really interesting. And on that day, we'll teach you 101 drills for active English that you can do with your kids and your adults. So you'll have fun. You will have fun. That's February the 10th. It's on the paperwork that we're going to give out to you at the end. And it's going to be really cheap and it's going to be a lot of fun. You will learn a lot. Please come. That's the foundation course. And then for those of you who really get into it, you can go to level 1 coach course, come back out again,